Facts of World War I. World War I, often called the Great War, was a global conflict that reshaped nations, societies, and the course of history. Fought from 1914 to 1918, it was a war of unprecedented scale and devastation. But how did it begin, and what made it so transformative? Segment 1. Causes of World War I. To understand World War I, we must look at the forces that led to its outbreak. By the early 1900s, Europe was a continent simmering with tension, driven by militarism. Countries like Germany and Britain were in an arms race, building powerful militaries and navies. Alliances. Nations had formed defensive agreements, such as the Triple Entente: France, Russia, Britain, and the Triple Alliance: Germany, Austria, Hungary, Italy. Imperialism. Competition for colonies created rivalries between major powers. Nationalism. Ethnic groups sought independence, and patriotic fervor heightened tensions, especially in the Balkans. The spark came on June 28, 1914, when Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria-Hungary was assassinated in Sarajevo by Gavrilo Princip, a Serbian nationalist. This single event ignited a chain reaction that plunged Europe into war. Segment 2. The war begins. After the assassination, Austria-Hungary issued an ultimatum to Serbia. When Serbia's response failed to satisfy Austria-Hungary, war was declared. This set off a domino effect as alliances drew more nations into the conflict. By August 1914, the major powers of Europe were at war: Germany and Austria-Hungary on one side, and Britain, France, and Russia on the other. The world was watching as the first truly global war began. Segment 3. The Western Front. The Western Front became a defining theater of the war, stretching across Belgium and France. Germany launched the Schlieffen Plan, aiming to quickly defeat France before turning to Russia. However, the plan faltered at the First Battle of the Marne, leading to a stalemate. Trench warfare dominated the Western Front. Soldiers endured horrific conditions: mud, disease, and constant bombardment. Battles like Verdun and the Somme symbolized the war's brutality, with millions of lives lost for minimal territorial gains. Segment 4. The Eastern Front and beyond. On the Eastern Front, fighting between Germany, Austria-Hungary, and Russia was more fluid, but just as devastating. Russia suffered heavy losses, contributing to internal unrest and eventually the Russian Revolution in 1917. The war wasn't confined to Europe. Campaigns in the Ottoman Empire, Africa, and Asia brought in soldiers from colonies worldwide. It truly was a global conflict. Segment 5. New technologies and warfare. World War I saw the advent of modern warfare. New technologies changed the face of battle. Machine guns, capable of mowing down waves of soldiers. Artillery, inflicted massive casualties from a distance. Poison gas, a terrifying weapon that caused agonizing deaths. Tanks and aircraft, introduced for the first time, though in their infancy. These advancements made the war more destructive than any before it. Segment 6. The United States enters the war. In 1917, the United States joined the war after a series of provocations, including the sinking of the Lusitania and the Zimmerman telegram, in which Germany encouraged Mexico to attack the U.S. The arrival of fresh American troops and resources gave the Allies a much-needed boost, tipping the balance of the war. Segment 7. The war ends. By 1918, Germany and its allies were exhausted. A series of defeats on all fronts, coupled with internal unrest, forced Germany to seek an armistice. On November 11, 1918, the guns fell silent. The war was over, but its effects were just beginning. Segment 8. The aftermath. World War I left 16 million dead and 21 million wounded. Empires collapsed, borders were redrawn, and the Treaty of Versailles in 1919 imposed harsh penalties on Germany, sowing the seeds for future conflict. For many, the war was a profound tragedy that reshaped the modern world. It gave rise to new ideologies, revolutions, and a resolve to prevent such devastation from happening again. Closing scene, montage of memorials, veterans, and modern peace movements. World War I was a turning point in human history, a reminder of the cost of war and the resilience of humanity. As we reflect on its legacy, we honor those who served and strive for a more peaceful future.